Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's tutorial, we're going to build on top of the previous tutorial that we did where we created a Plotly AI agent to build Plotly graphs. This video tutorial about 2 weeks ago, we just said build a graph and activated the LLM that was based on this preset data set, right, of missions in space. So it built us a bar chart with some code in Plotly that we could use to tweak the chart or learn Plotly. And we just built the chart on this data set a lot faster. Now this was last tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to have a dynamic data. So instead of choosing a preset data that we uploaded here as space mission data.csv, we are going to upload any data set that we want and do the same thing. Activate the LLM and have it build a Plotly graph for us. So let's take this data set called data.csv. This happens to be data about annual income required to buy a house, year-over-year change in annual income, and median price sale. So we have these states here or cities, and let's give it a request. Let's say create a pie chart summarizing 2 different columns with these 2 cities, right? These 2 cities are the first 2. And here we go. We have a pie chart. It activated the Groq LLM that we will go over in a sec. Right here, our chat Groq, which actually the model is the Llama 3. And it was successfully able to build a pie chart showing the analysis of a median home sale price of these 2 states. And I just limited to 2 cities because we have, what, 20 cities here, 30 cities? I don't want 30 different slices. It's going to look very awkward for a pie chart. Let's see another example. This is a pretty long request, but we're gonna use it. We're gonna say build the most appropriate graph. It can choose whatever graph that it wants, but it has to convert the year-over-year change column from a string to a float, because this is a string on the Excel sheet, on the CSV sheet. And so I told it convert it to a float. It actually did it. We can see it right here. It's converting it to a float. And then it created the scatter plot because it's thought that the scatter plot is the best chart in this case. And then it showed it right here on our page. There doesn't seem to be too much of a correlation between percentage of year-over-year change and a home sale price. But it's just cool to see that it was able to build this chart. Let's take one last example. We'll use a different data set. Let's use this data set, data.xv something. It's surveys of people in France, I think. Are they in favor or not in favor of the Olympics in 2024? We'll tell it, you can say anything you want. Build a graph to best summarize the data. Really basics, right? I'm not telling it what graph. In this case, it chose the bar chart. Last time it gave me a line chart, I think. And here we go. You can see clearly that in 2020, the survey was a lot more favorable for Paris Olympics as opposed to the year 2023. I guess people got some cold feet about Olympics in Paris. And most importantly, we have the code. So we can take this code, we can plug it into Charming Data, into a new Python file, and continue working with it. Great tool to learn Python using this Plotly AI agent for creating graphs with Dash. All right, so let's go over it. Let's go over this code right here that created this app right here with a drag and drop dynamic data. It's the code right here. If you want access to the full code instead of pausing, playing, whatever, and more updates as I create more videos and more similar AI agents, just go into the Charming Data platform. Here in the Langchain education space, I'm going to create a new post with the complete code and the video and future updates. Regardless if you want the code or not, I would highly recommend you click that button and create an account, a free account on this Charming Data platform, because the main goal of this platform is to work together in a community and on Python and AI projects to learn and improve our skills in Python and AI. right? So last month we worked on neural style transfer. We were about 7 to 9 people working on it. Before that, we were working on response reporting app project for a nonprofit in Europe. The goal is to learn AI and Python together and develop our career portfolio or project portfolio while we are building these projects together. So come join, it's completely free. All right, so let's go back to the code. We are going to look at this code right here that develops to create this app. Now, the first couple lines of code, we're just importing the libraries, very similar to what we did last couple of weeks ago with the last app. The only difference is we're importing these two libraries for the upload, the DCC upload component. Okay. Now I'm not going to go over all of this. All of the section right here is what we did in the last video. So just click on the link above if you want to learn more about what this part of the code does. But as you can see, we're just reading the API key and then we're activating our Llama 3 model within Groq. This is an important function that I go into in the last video. Again, click on it above and it'll explain what it kind of does here. Nice code to actually extract the figure and display it on the page. All right, this is new. This is the parse contents function. And to be honest, I really just took it from the Dash documentation, right? If you click on this link, you'll see, let me click on it for you. You'll see that it's the DCC upload right here. And this is the first example. I just took out, I didn't need this date thing, so I just took that out and tweaked it a little bit. But it's pretty much the same thing, almost all of it. It's reading a CSV file, or it's checking if there's a CSV file or an Excel file, and then it's going to save the data into a pandas data frame. And most importantly, I am returning this HTML div, right? And we'll go over this div in a minute when we go over the callback to see what we return. All right, so now we have the layout. Line 69, let's look at the layout. Let's move this to the side. Let's put this right here. And let's look at our layout. Refresh. We have a drag and drop. We have a title right here. We have the DCC upload right here. Just copy pasted this from the Dash documentation. And then we have this output. This is where we're going to output our grid, our text area, as you can see here, where we can type stuff. And then our button right here. And here's where we're going to insert or display the graph and the Python code. We have two callbacks, this callback and the second callback. The first callback is pretty much the new callback. This is where we take the contents of the file that we drop into here, we read it, the content of the file and the file name, and then we activate this this function. Remember this function, parse contents? This is just this function right here, right? So we're activating this function, taking the contents and the file name. It recognizes as a CSV sheet, and then it's going to return all of this. So let's see an example. Taking this, let's take the data.csv, which I think is the medium how prices and annual income change. And what it did, look here, it's returning this. So this right here, this div is being returned right here as the children to the children property of the output grid ID. Now the output grid ID is right here. So the HTML div is just being returned to the children. Children equals, boom, HTML div. So all of this is returned above the text area, but below the DCC upload. You see? Just returns here, the AG grid, and we're restoring two different variables or objects. We're storing into the client's browser. This is a DCC store. It stores information in the client's browser. We're storing the pandas, the data frame into as a dictionary of lists. Each list is a row, and then we're storing the file name, right? Because we're going to need this. Let me Control Z. This is all done dynamically, so we don't need this. Perfect. Great. So we're displaying with this callback, we're displaying our AG grid and storing the data. And now that we have all the data stored, we're going to grab it right here in the second callback. All right, we're going to grab the file data right here. We're going to create the file name that comes from the other store component, and we're going to grab the user input like we did in the last application. Right, the user input right here is the value of the text box, the value of this text box. So whenever I say something like build a graph, what it's going to do, it's going to activate the callback, the last callback. Oh, that's a pretty neat graph that it built. And it's going to return all of this. So I'm not going to go over all of this because this is exactly what happened in the last application in the last video. So definitely watch the video above to see how it's actually returning everything. But in short, it's really just taking the data, the dictionary of lists, right, that we stored in the client's browser. It's turning it into a pandas data frame, grabbing the first 5 rows, turning this rows into a string so we can read it in the prompt, and then we are creating the prompt, which is very similar to the prompt last week. The only difference is I'm reading a name of the file and the data. And these dictionaries right here are going to be presented inside the response when I invoke the chain. The data is going to be the CSV string, right here, the CSV string, which is just the first 5 rows because we don't need all rows to tell the LLM to build a graph. And we just need the file name, which is going to be right here. So we know to spit out right here to read this file name. And then we execute this code with the execute function right here. Where was it? Right here. And that's it. And this is how we are spitting out the code right here with this function and the graph onto the screen on line 164. We're returning the graph and the markdown code right here into these 2 components, the children of my figure and the children of my content. These are just HTML divs. And this is how they are returned under the button right here. The graph and the code. Well, the whole markdown. Right? Again, I wanted to make this video short, really to highlight how to do the drag and drop. If you have any questions, if it's not clear, just watch the first video from a couple of weeks ago. If you still have questions, in the comment section below the video, and don't forget to join the free open charming data space where we can talk about and work together on Python and AI projects. All right, I'll see you around. Always remember, we're better together, so help each other out.